we are back in the world of Create Automated, and this time my skin is on correctly. This time we are going to be finishing our little dam project, which will only be a small amount of this episode, I pinky promise swear. And then we are going to be sorting out power distribution and making this area look a lot prettier. We're going to add some paths around and clean up the edges of the dams, because there will be multiple in this episode, and filling up the water in between them. And there'll even be a little, well, as I said before, power distribution area with little power lines as well to make it all connect together. But for now, obviously, I can't just spend another 3 hours building a whole dam. So I have gone ahead and looked up the recipes and items we need, which is going to be a schematic cannon, schematic table, and a schematic and quill, not just a normal empty schematic. Wait, no, it is a normal empty schematic, so we'll need an empty schematic. But these are all pretty simple things to make. I should have access to absolutely everything I need for these. And with this, we can get a schematic cannon, and then for a schematic table, we just need some slabs, which are quite simple to get, obviously. Everyone knows how to make that. Well, only if you've played Minecraft, of course. And then we need some light blue dye and paper. We can turn lapis into blue dye and then turn that into 2 light blue dye, and then we can turn that into an empty schematic. And then let's place down this schematic table there, and I have multiple little things I use here to sort out this completed second dam schematic. Okay, and now we've got this big monumental schematic, which actually we are going to require a clipboard as well. Because with a clipboard, we can use it in a schematic cannon to tell me every single material we need. Alright, big schematic time. Bang. It is completely in the wrong spot. You know what? Whether I think this is too far forward or not, or in the correct position to how I was testing it, this in fact looks like a better position from how I was testing it. You can also see a little bit of a back there. The reason why it's so flat and it is a lot darker on the back is because the back side will have water. So I'm going to chuck the schematic cannon right there and put a clipboard inside of it and the schematic. And I've got a nice little material checklist. Quite a lot of blocks, but they should all be pretty simple to get. In fact, it's not as much as I thought it was going to be. I actually thought there'd be some blocks in here that was over 1,000. I need a lot more resources, so I'm going to activate the mining machine and bring it down. And I don't really like the idea of doing time lapses for mining, so I will be back once I am back. And after all of that mining, I have all of the things I need. Yes, I'm including a 1 leaf litter because I want to. Because I'm weird like that, but we've got it all in here and we can just head over to schematic cannon. So I guess I'm gonna click start recording on my replay mod. Let's just hope this all goes well. If it doesn't, I will cry. Well, I heard a magical little ding telling me it's done, but it's nighttime, so I'm a bit scared to go out, but doesn't seem to be anything around here, and this definitely looks done. And all that needs to be done is some cleaning up on that side. This side obviously needs a way for the path to get across, but that'll be fine. And I guess the next schematic that needs to be done is the one on the back there. And this bit is now done too. I'm going to dive in and add to the bottom here, which is going to be a bunch of cobbled deep slate and these large cobbled deep slate tiles. I need to do the same on the other side. And then I also need to fix that gaping hole that's going all the way along there. I can now say that this area is ready for water to fill up, which is great. You know, it just took me a little while. And water to fill up will take even longer because I'm simply going to use some water wheels, a hose pulley, and mechanical pump, just moving the water into the water, which does mean if you're wanting to fill up infinite water sources, you have to do this as well. You click on the little goggle icon here, configure, server config, fluids, and we want fill infinite, which is where the hose pulley should continue filling up above threshold sources, which I have on, which does mean that even though this is classed as an infinite source, it will continue filling up over the infinite source, meaning I won't have any issues with it. With that being said, that does mean I need to get a few copper related things so I can actually use my pipes. So I've got a lot of copper ingots here. I'm going to chuck them all onto this press and take another 5 years to press these like I do every other episode. And now with all of those pressed, we can head into here. We can get some fluid pipes, which are going to be needed. I also need to get a hose pulley, which requires our first bit of dried kelp actually, and a copper casing too. But no matter what, kelp is massively needed for the create mod because it gets you access to things such as funnels, tunnels, belts, and a whole lot more things than just that. In future, those are going to be some very, very, very important blocks that we're going to have to use for every single factory we make, more than likely. Now to cook these into kelp, my best idea is going to be to get a campfire. I'm going to head out here, pick up this lava, and if I put a campfire here instead, then it's going to become a smoker, meaning I can just put the kelp onto here. Because dried kelp is technically a food, it will smoke it into dried kelp. And then with our dried kelp that we now have, we can go ahead and turn it into a block, meaning we should now be able to get a hose pulley right here. And now with these and this cog, I can make a mechanical pump, which does actually mean I'm going to need another cogwheel. Get another small cogwheel there, so then we have those, and then I need a water wheel. Final thing is going to be a hand crank right there, and then now we should just be able to go over here and this should hopefully all work. And now we've got a very slow trickle of water going through, which does not matter right now because the hand crank has not been put on, and now slowly start emptying. So time to clean up some things. We can definitely put this away because I can just store that in a chest. Our farm is working very hard at gathering wheat seeds. So this is probably already getting time for it to go because that is enough wheat to last me a while. Definitely do something about these chests, and then once all of this area has been cleaned up, it's time to do some terraforming and bring a path up to the dam over there. I'll head out here and start breaking these chests. Now I know it's going to be very, very, very annoying that these aren't sorted at all. However, we can just make a vault for storage at some point soon with a blaze burner to be our little vault keeper storage person thing. So I'm not worried about any of this being sorted out because it'll be sorted out at that point, and that point is not right now. And with this, it is time for me to figure out the correct way to start terraforming this area. Definitely going to start off by getting rid of that and this infinite water pool, and definitely going to be covering up this area. But I think I can put it just in a little time lapse now, and I can at least get a path up to the dam, and then I'll be back. So as you should have seen from that time lapse there, I've done quite a bit of work. You can tell just from me exiting the door. We've got the farm removed, and we've got a little retaining wall going up here, and we've even got a path that goes up this way with a new farm being ready to be built there. And a very clear area here for a building that we're going to be putting there soon. And then the path goes all the way up here to the dam and goes across it. Currently that is not done. And this is still very, very, very slowly filling, but it is getting there. I have AFK'd for very long to do this. I really should have brought the speed of this pump up a little bit more because it would probably be done by now if I did. There are several things I need to do to prepare for building in this area right in front of me here. Obviously, it is about time that we get an actual workshop, an actual storage system, and all of those things done. I've done a little bit of designing in creative, but not very much. Just figured out the blocks I need, and I'm going to need some crimsite, limestone, bricks, and a lot of iron to make a bunch of vaults for my storage. Originally I was going to put it over there, but I decided it probably makes more sense to be around here if I'm still going to have my bed and other things down here. But for now I need to connect all of the water wheels in there together, and I think the best way for me to do that is going to be with encased chain drives and then just a bunch of shafts. So let's get a bunch of iron nuggets, and we need some andesite alloy. Of course I do. So chuck these two in there. We'll take this hand crank, and I guess it's time for me to do this. And there we go, we have our stack of andesite alloy. So now we're going to need to turn a bunch of it into andesite casings, and then with these we can make some encased chain drives. And now with these encased chain drives, I can head over here, mine into our water wheel area. And now I need to figure out how to connect every water wheel, which is going to be actually pretty simple. I didn't realize how well placed they actually were. Let's put chain drives there for now. And now here we can place a vertical gearbox and some shafts heading upwards. Annoyingly, this will go straight into the path, and we're currently out of encased chain drives. But if I dig up through here real quick, we can very easily move this shaft from being there over to somewhere around here, or probably over to here. And then we're going to use chain conveyors to connect it all up. Probably not down there, because those machines are going to be moved into the workshop anyways and will become fully automated. Okay, for now let's just take back this vertical gearbox, because we obviously need to expand it in this direction a bit more before we can place that down. I'm not exactly sure of the best location for this, but I will just wait until the blocks we're using or the path have disappeared from above us, and then dig up, and that will hopefully be a good enough spot. Alright, now we can put a vertical gearbox there and build up with our shafts. Now just for now, I am just going to put the chain conveyor right on top of this, but I will end up making a little design to go around it, so it's just poking out the ground constantly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the chain conveyor, and I only have 3 chains, so it's not going to be enough at all. Yeah, we need a grand total of 11. And now we officially have power moving from the dam to another location, which is great, because that means we can actually start to actually do more than just worry about this dam. Obviously there's still the water to worry about, and the buildings that will go over there and around this area, but that is a way later problem. Now, I think you can actually do a chain conveyors, if you're not aware. If you have your wrench and you right click the chain, you connect to it. Yeah, I think having our little, I guess, power lines along the side of a path is going to give it the best look. So the next area to have a little power line, it's just probably going to be the building, because it's going to be here. So I guess we just have another chain conveyor and connect it up to the building, and then we're going to have to get our first rotational speed controller as well, so then we can increase the speed of it. Which actually, it might be a good idea to get that rotational speed controller now, because if I get to do those things now instead of later, then that means I can completely focus on getting the resources for building, and that does mean I won't have to keep on coming back every 5 seconds to do some other small thing. Stack copper ingots, stack of copper ingots, and spin it around for a bit. I'm not going to do this too much, just enough to have, well, enough I guess, because I need a deployer, and I need a, I think it's called a precision mechanism. We need to smash, it's either 4 or 5 of these to be able to make a brass handful of the deployer. Now that I've got the deployer here for it, let's actually figure out the exact way to get a precision mechanism. We need some cogwheels, large cogwheels, and iron nuggets, and 1 golden sheet. And I guess hopefully this doesn't go wrong. It is turning night though, so first I'm going to sleep. As I was trying to say, hopefully this doesn't go wrong. So I think first we need the cogwheel. Yep. Artificial intelligence. Not quite what I would call it, but and then we just keep on looping around until we have used 5 of each. There we go, we got it. Complex curiosities, which now means we need to get a log from here, a brass ingot, strip that log, turn it into a brass casing, and now we're into the brass age. And then I should just be able to do a rotation speed controller. There we go. Then you're able to put this in here, and then you can either put power in through there or there, and then you can change the speed and rotation through here, and that makes life a whole lot easier. So I guess that was kind of the last thing I was trying to say. I guess that is all we really need to do before I can start getting resources and building our little workshop / storage area, which is going to take a little bit of time to get those resources because I need to find some crimsite, I need to find some limestone, I need to find a bunch of iron, and a few other things. And yeah, I mean, it's taken the time to build the dam, get our actual power area, and set up a little nice area to build it. It took our time to get that done, so I'm sure it's not going to be another 5 hours to get the rest of this done, alright? Right? So if I'm good at editing, which I'm not certain if I am or not, you should have seen some resource gathering there of me getting a bunch of clay, crimsite, limestone, and then I'll just put some extra little blocks in here that should go well with it. We're going to be building our little storage building and workshop within the same building here. To be able to make my storage system, I'm going to need some more iron, and my mining drill has not been very nice with the iron giving. And so I'm going to have to fix that problem myself by making a very, very, very small temporary iron farm. Just so whilst I'm building the building and waiting for water to go up in the dam still. Yes, that's still happening. So we've got this thing in here which will generate cobblestone for us, which is just a little bit, but using that we can grind the cobblestone straight into gravel. And then from grinding it into gravel, we can then wash it, which will give us a 12% chance of getting iron nugget, and then we'll just bin the flint, which will give us a bit of iron to work with for our bolts and things like that. 5 brass ingots, a drill, which I know I've got 1 spare, and an electron tube. So the only thing we don't have right now is the electron tube, which I know for a fact I've got some. We have 8 brass ingots there. We'll bring this and this for some power related things. And we got redstone there and just a stack of iron just in case I need it. Alright, make 1 rose quartz. We need 1 sheet and we need sandpaper. Now I need water and lava. So we've got the nether portal right there for us to go into. Nothing's ever gone wrong with a tiny quick nether trip, has it? Something nearly went wrong immediately after I said that. I sprinted right up that ledge. And then I can put this oak log there, strip it, make another brass casing, and a mechanical generator. And then we place it down. It looks very simple. We got shaft inputs there, and then if we connect a chute, funnel, or anything like that to it, then it will drop cobblestone for us. And then I should have everything I need for a quick and small temporary iron farm. So we can set this up here. To encased fan, oak leaves there. The drawer can just go there, and then you can put the brass funnel there. We put our chute there, millstone there, a chute there, and a mechanical generator there. And then we want to connect that like that, I believe. Oh, that's not the greatest location to be. Wait, yes it is. So we can put the large cogwheel there. Connect that there, and that is powering the cobblestone into the mills, which I'm going to get a gearbox, and then we can put that there, and that there, and that will grind it down. And then using our encased chain drive, we can go this way, and I guess I'll just get another gearbox for that. And then in this list filter, I did not need to do that. In this list filter, I can put gravel in and then deny it, which only means any blocks that come out will just be left here to wash and then head into here once it's washed into gravel and flint. Now we've got a very heavy flow of gravel heading into here, which will likely cause a bit of lag, but there we go. We've got our first iron nugget and first flint going into here. Very, very simple build to do, but yeah, we need the iron so then we can actually make vaults, because for the beginning of my storage system, I plan to have 3 full-size vaults, which I can't really make that with my current lack of iron. So whilst we are building, this will continue giving us more and more iron and flint, I suppose. Hopefully it should be enough to make all the vaults we will need in the world. So to be able to build our workshop, storage, factory, facility place, we're going to need a platform to put it on. And I'm going to at least need a little area over here to fit the storage area, meaning I'm going to have to place a little bit of dirt around this way. I am really running low on time to do this episode though, so I definitely need to hurry up with it, otherwise we're going to have a little issue where the building is not going to be complete or really touched at all, on at least the outside. And now that I've got this weird half dirty, half not dirty platform down, I think it's time for me to start building. Well, the outside of the build is now complete. It does look a little bit funky, but I think there are only tiny improvements I can do for it for now. And I've also moved the farm here into a much smaller one and upgraded this backpack just so then I can collect even more food for us, so we never run out of that. There will obviously be a way bigger farming area later on down the line. But we've also had a bunch of iron made by our little iron farm during the time I've been doing that. And yeah, for now, doing the interior of this workshop storage area will be a next episode problem. But luckily with the iron we have made, all I'll need to do is get a bunch of wood and then I'll have enough to fill up vaults all the way along here. I've done the workshop today, kind of. I've done the exterior of the workshop today. I've added a path connecting all the way to the dam, all the way down here. We did the second dam as well. We've connected power up, and yeah, even though it does not seem like I've done very much, I kind of have. So yeah, depending on how things go, there will be a new video on Tuesday. However, it's not going to be a video on this Create World. You'll just have to wait and see. Bye.